be talking about two-digit by two-digit multiplication. So in the previous videos, in the previous lessons, we learned how to multiply one-digit numbers. Today we're going to talk about how to multiply two-digit numbers. So when we learned how to multiply one-digit videos, we used something called this standard algorithm. And we talked about an algorithm. That's just a way of solving something. It's a way of doing something. So we're using the standard algorithm today in this video, just like we've been using with our one-digit numbers. Two-digit is a little bit different. So I have the steps written on the left-hand side. You start as if you're doing a one-digit multiplication problem, and then because there's more numbers, of course, there's more steps. So I'm going to walk us through step by step, figuring out how to solve this problem. So our first problem we have, you can see it up top in blue right here, is 32 times 24. So before we even get into our steps, I want to show you how to set up a multiplication problem like this. So when you have two-digit numbers, you always want to make sure you're lining them up by their place values, just like we do with one-digit numbers. So if I have 32 times 24, I prefer to put the bigger number on top, but it's really up to you because we know that when we're multiplying numbers, it doesn't really matter what order we put them in, right? If we're doing 4 times 2 is 8, we can also say 2 times 4 is 8. So same thing here. Doesn't really matter which number we put on top. I just prefer to put the bigger number. So I have 32 and 24 stacked on top of each other, lined up using place value. And then I put my little multiplication symbol on the left-hand side. We use an X to symbolize multiplication. Now we're going to put our line underneath because we're separating our factors from our product. So our factors are 32 and 24, right? We're trying to figure out what they multiply to get. So our product will go down here below. All right, so let's take a look at the steps. So very first step that we're going to do is we're going to multiply our top number, so 32 is our top number, by the digit in the ones place of our bottom number. So let me just pause you for a second, and I just kind of want you to think about what we've been doing with multiplication to connect it to this. So before, when we only had one digit, so let's pretend like this 2 right here is not even here, right? If you even want to make sure that you write this down in your notebook. So when you write it down in your notebook, take your pointer finger and cover up that 2. We're going to pretend like that 2 is not even there. And what we're going to multiply is we're just going to multiply 32 times 4. Just like we used to do. We all know how to multiply 32 times 4, right? So pretend like that 2 is not even there and just focus on the digit in the ones place. The digit in the ones place is a 4, so that's what I'm going to focus on. And I'm going to make sure that I multiply this digit 4 by both of my numbers up top. I'm going to make sure I multiply it by the 2 in the ones place, and then I'll multiply it by the 3 in the tens place. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to start with 4 times 2 because I always start in the ones place. I have 4 times 2. I know that 4 times 2 is equal to 8. So I'm just going to drop that 8 right down here. Okay. 4 ones times 2 ones is 8 ones. All right, now that I went up and multiplied it by the ones place, now I need to go over and multiply it by the digit in the tens place of that top number. So I have 4 times 3, right? That's what my digits are, 4 times 3. But I also want you to think about the place value, right? That 3 is not 3 ones, that 3 is 3 tens. So really, I know that 4 times 3 is 12. I know that, right? Those are my basic facts. But if we're thinking about place value, really that 3 tens is not just 3, it's really 30. So if we think about it as 4 times 30 instead of 4 times 3, using our place value knowledge, I know that 4 times 3 is 12, and I have 1 0 in my problem, so I'm just going to bring that 0 over. So my product is really representing 120. Right? It's really representing that 120. So when I drop down, let's go back to just multiplying the digits. 4 times 3 is 12. When I drop down this 12, you can see that this 12 is creating new place values. We have a 1 in the hundreds place now. We have a 2 in the tens and an 8 in the ones. So can you see why I made sure to show you this? 4 times 30 is 120. We had our 4 times 2 is 8. 120 plus 8 gives us that 128. So I know that a lot of the times when we're multiplying, we just multiply using our digits, but I want you to think about place value here as well, okay? So I am done in the ones place. I have taken that 4 and I've multiplied it by both of the digits up top. I am done. So here's what I do. I'm going to cross off this 4. I'm done with it. I no longer need it. It's not of any use to me. Okay. I'm going to next look at step 2. It says to write a 0 under the ones place as a placeholder. So the fact that I'm done with the ones place means I don't want to accidentally write anything in the ones place because I'm not going to be multiplying ones now. I'm going to be multiplying my digit in my tens place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 0 placeholder underneath this 8 in the ones place. This is one of the most important steps. If you forget to do this, your numbers will be off, okay? Because then you'll start to write in the ones place when we're really done with the ones place. So now we're going to, after we crossed off our digit in the ones place, we put our 0 placeholder, we're going to move on to step 3. Step 3 says we're going to multiply the top number, again, which is 32, by the digit in the tens place of this bottom number now. So now, I already did my 4, now I'm going to multiply this 2 by that 32 up top. But remember, thinking about place value, that 2 is not just 2, right? Look at what place it's in. It's in the tens place, so it's really worth 20. So really what we're going to be multiplying is 20 times 2 and then 20 times 30, okay? It's just good to always have that in the back of our minds. All right, let's get started. So I'm starting with this 2 that I have circled in red, and I'm going to go and multiply it by the 2 in the ones place. I have 2 tens times 2 ones. I know that 2 times 2, if I'm just doing the digits, is 4. Bring down that 4 into the tens place because that's where we're at. Now, if you're thinking about this with place value, this is really 20, because there's a 2 in the tens place, times 2, which is 40. And you can see that we have 40 right there down below because we put that 0 placeholder in our ones place. All right, now it's time to do 2 times 3. I know that 2 times 3 is equal to 6. So I can just bring that 6 down into my next place value. Now, why is that 6 in the hundreds place, you might be thinking? Well, remember, this 2 is really 20. This 3 is really 30 because if we're looking at the place values, 20 times 30, 2 times 3 is 6, and I have 2 zeros in that problem, so that's equal to 600, which is why that 6 is in the hundreds place, okay? So now that we've multiplied both digits, the 4 in the ones place, the 2 in the tens place by that top number, I am done. I'm done multiplying. My very last step is I need to add up these two numbers. So what we call these two numbers down here, these are called our partial products. So this 128 and the 640, those are partial products. What is a partial product? Well, think of the word partial or a part of, right? If you have a part of a piece of pie, you don't have the whole thing, right? You only have maybe a piece of it or a couple pieces, right? If I give you part of your math homework, I'm not giving you the whole thing, I'm just giving you some of it. So we know that product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So put that together. Partial products are pieces of the answer, right? So we need to add them together to get the full answer. So I'm literally going to put my plus addition symbol here on the left. I'm going to draw a line right underneath. If you feel like you want to take those two numbers and rewrite them, so rewrite 640 plus 128 on the side, that's fine, but I just like to do it all right here. So now I go ahead and I add. I have 8 plus 0, 8 ones plus 0 ones is just 8. 2 plus 4, 4 plus 2, either way is 6. And 1 plus 6 or 6 plus 1 is 7. So down here in highlighted yellow, this is my final product. 32 times 24 equals 768. This is using the standard algorithm. We're going to do one more problem here, and I'm going to encourage you to work through it in your notebook as well with me. And we're going to do a problem where we are going to need to carry some digits because we know that sometimes that happens. So let's do 43 times 38. Go ahead and write that down in your notebook. And if you even want to try this, like if you're watching this video after you've already done a lot of practice, go ahead and try this on your own. If you're watching this video because you are really still confused on the standard algorithm, I want you to walk through it step by step with me. So first we start down here in the ones place. I'm going to take this 8 and I'm going to multiply it by this 3. 8 times 3, I know is 24. So I can't put 24, if I write it like this, and I'll show you, 8 times 3 equals 24. I can't put 24 in the ones place, right? We know this, we've been over this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 4 ones in the ones place, and I'm going to carry these 2 tens into the tens place. So they're just going to go right above that 4. All right, now I'm going to multiply this 8 by this 4, because again, following our steps, we take the bottom digit in the ones place and multiply it by both of those top numbers. So 8 times 4, I know, is equal to 32. But don't forget about those 2 tens that you carried into the tens place. So I know that 8 times 4 is 32, but I got to add those 2 to that product. So 8 times 4 is 32. 32 plus 2 is equal to 34. Go ahead and bring that 34 down. Okay, remember when we're carrying digits, we add them to our products. Now, I am finished multiplying this digit 8 in the ones place. I'm going to go ahead and cross it off. And I'm also now going to need to make sure I either erase or I cross off this 2 that I carried, because we don't want to accidentally use that 2 when we're multiplying the tens place, okay? Go ahead and cross off those digits and make sure you put your 0 placeholder underneath the ones place before you move on to the tens. Now we're going to multiply our tens place. So I have 3 times 3. I know that 3 times 3 is 9, so just go ahead and bring that 9 down. Let me write that over here. 3 times 3 equals 9. So we just bring that 9 down. There's nothing we need to carry. And then I have 3 times 4. I know that 3 times 4 is 12. So because I have nowhere else to carry a digit to, or I don't have any other numbers to multiply, I can just go ahead and bring down that 12. Just be careful as to where you're putting it. Okay, we need to make sure that we line up our place values. So we actually have a thousands place here. All right, now we're going to go ahead and add. So we're going to add 344 plus 1,290. 4 plus 0 is 4. 4 plus 9, or 9 plus 4, here's how I would do this mentally. I would do 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 3 more gives me 13. So 9 plus 4 is 13. Bring down your 3 and carry your 1 into your next place value, just as if you would do if you were normally adding numbers. Now we have 3 plus 2. I know that 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 more is 6. And then that 1 in the thousands place, there's nothing to add with that 1 in the thousands place. So we just have 1,634 as our final product. Okay. I encourage you to continue to practice this, because the only way you're going to get good at multiplication is by practicing. So I'm going to pose 2 more problems for you to practice on your own. Go ahead in your notebook and try 34 times 19 and 61 times 52. Just 2 problems for you to practice on your own after watching this video. go ahead and follow each step, step by step. Make sure that you are following the steps, crossing off your numbers, and adding them up at the end. Guys, have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.